Oh, by the way, I don't know if you fellas are following the whole Twitter drama regarding Elon Musk and all of that. Kind of like people are saying that Twitter is gonna end or something like that, you know. Don't know if you fellas have been following that drama, but I have, and I'm not really... I don't really think that Twitter will close down or something like that. I think it's gonna remain usable, even if it is kinda like suffering in its current state. But I went ahead and I created a Mastodon account, you know. For those of you who don't know, Mastodon is an open source alternative to Twitter. It's not owned by any single company, and they say it is, I think, federalized. So you don't really have a central server, but you have a bunch of different regional servers that talk to each other. And it's a bit confusing to wrap your head around. But after I started using it, kind of like yesterday, I followed a bunch of people there and started checking my feed and making... They called their tweets, they call them toots. Because it's kind of like a mastodon, an elephant. So with the elephant nose, kind of like toot, you know, stuff like that. It is quirky. But I'm actually enjoying it. I made an account for my Brazilian persona, my Brazilian channel. I haven't made one yet for this channel here, to interact with you fellas in English. But I think I'll do that very soon. And I'll let you fellas know my Mastodon handle there on Twitter, if you fellas want to follow me there as well. I don't, you know, I will not stop using Twitter because I like it, and most people I follow are still there. But I think it is interesting to start checking out a different alternative, you know. And it's not just that Mastodon is an alternative to Twitter, it's different, you know, it's kind of like a different way of interacting with people. There are some similarities with Twitter, but they really have their own style. And I'm enjoying it. Have you fellas tried Mastodon out yet? Yeah, managed to protect him and them. They're nice. I'm a nice companion. So a meme heavy. Oh no, Uncle Leo has crits and everyone has crits. Okay, but that was a good run, I think. So have you fellas tried out Mastodon yet? What do you think? You know, what's your opinion on it? And what do you think is gonna happen to Twitter? Do you think, you know, Twitter is gonna stay operational? Do you think it's gonna improve? Do you think it's dying slowly and painfully? What do you think, fellas? I'd like to know your opinion there, because, you know, is there a scout behind us? No, there isn't. I'd like to know your opinions there, because I think that's an interesting topic. And I interact a lot with people on Twitter. I really enjoy using that social network. I think it's good for, you know, exchanging ideas and stuff like that. Getting up to speed with recent news and all of that. Watching memes. I like it. So I hope Twitter doesn't die. I hope so. And Alison is saying there, Mastodon seems complicated, but it would be nice to see Twitter die in some ways. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Alison. I understand what you're saying there within some ways, but I don't really want Twitter to die. I like Twitter. Twitter is funny, I think. You know, a lot of people complain about Twitter being a toxic platform, and I get it. But my experience with it is mostly positive. I don't know if it is because I really choose carefully my interactions, and I try not to respond when people are just trying to mess with me, you know. So I think I'm very strategic on how I use Twitter, so that's probably why I have a good time with it. But yeah, Mastodon seems better moderated, because since, you know, it's not a central service, every Mastodon server, I think they call instance Mastodon instance has its own moderation group, moderation team and rules. So you can actually join the one that you think is, you know, more adequate for you, and that seems to be a good thing. I haven't, for example, seen anything I didn't like there yet. And it's kind of complicated because it has a local feed to the server you are on, but it also has a global feed. So you can, it doesn't really matter what server you are on, you can follow anyone from any server, and you can also see their posts and the global posts as well. I'm still getting the hang of it because it is different. But I thought it would be harder to get used to it, and it really isn't. You know, it's quite simple actually. I struggled a little bit when choosing what instance I would join, but you know, that really doesn't matter which one. You just have to pick one, you know, that's kind of like into one of your interests. There's quite a bunch of recommended ones for several different. I don't want to play Sawmill today. Several different interests, but you can really pick any one because later you can migrate your account to another instance if you wish to do that. I think it's more about who you follow. You know, you have to kind of like. What I did was I checked the people I followed on Twitter, their profiles and all of that, and I checked if they had an account on Mastodon, and then I followed them there. And again, you can do that even if they are in other instances. So then my feed is actually looking quite similar to how it is on Twitter. It's just there is a lot of people missing because they don't have Mastodon accounts yet. But it's interesting, you know. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm gonna use it for a while. It's pretty cool. I'll check chat in just a sec, fellas. I saw that you are saying there what you thought about it, and let me just, you know, not die here too quick. And I'm dead. Okay, I'll check chat now. Let's see what you're saying there. Rico is saying, I checked out Mastodon a few years ago and I always thought that it was a great alternative to Twitter. I hope it really gains traction. Yeah, you know, me too. I saw the creator of Mastodon saying that they recently surpassed, I think, 2 million users or something like that. And that's a pretty good benchmark, you know. I've noticed a lot of people using it more recently. Here in Brazil, people are kind of like migrating to another Twitter clone that has a funny name for us. It is named Koo, K-O-O. You know, it's kind of like the sound a bird makes or something like that. But here in Brazil, that word, Koo, is kind of like, you know, please excuse me, it means butthole. So everyone's kind of like memeing about that name and joining that network because they find it funny. But I actually thought it was a bit sketchy of a network. You know, I've read some articles. It seems to be kind of like of a far-right social network in India. And I don't know, I don't think I would feel comfortable there. So that's why I decided to open a Mastodon account. Not to mention that other account, you know, is owned by a private corporation. And I don't really want to handle my information, you know, my traffic information to another company. I think I'm okay with Facebook, Google, and Twitter already, you know. I don't want another one, really. Come on, Tupac. Come on. And because Mastodon is not owned by a company, they are not actually collecting your data to sell to advertisers. So I think that's a good thing. So yeah. And Remain saying there, I find it so funny that I immediately become more successful when I go back to my roots. Maybe it's trying to tell me something. Yeah, you have to use the power of the ham man. We're gonna get destroyed here. You have to use the power of the ham and kill the enemies with your ham. For sure. Embrace your origins. That's very, very funny. And Alison is saying there, oh, don't get me wrong about Twitter. I use Twitter a lot. It's great for carving out your own space online and for seeing funny cats. Yeah, I enjoy seeing funny budgies and birds. I really like the bird accounts there. But I think with the takeover, the ethos is shifting in a negative way. Yeah, I agree, Ellison. But I don't know how much of that change will actually impact, my feed and my interactions there. So that's really why I'm not very concerned, Because if we still have options to block and silence, people, I think that's all I need to keep, positive interactions there. So to me, it's not really that worrying. But I get what you're saying, I agree.